Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Alyssa Corum here with Justin Nielsen. And Justin, we always say it's not how you open, it's how the market closes. And today, a great example of that.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some of those stocks that maybe didn't open so well. On our radar for today is Apple and AutoNation. And you're going to have to help me with this one, Allie. Danaos?
Danaos.
Danaos. Okay, thank you so much. My resident Greek expert here. Thank you.
Oh, we'll see. Fake it till you make it, right?
Right.
Well, let's take a look at the major indexes. Here's the NASDAQ, so you can see falling well below the 21-day line intraday, but a nice close above that level, still down about 0.2% for the day, but well off of lows. The Dow and the S&P up about 0.3% each. Small caps, the hardest hit today, down about 0.9%. But look at this support here, continuing at the 21-day line for the NASDAQ.
Yeah, so what I really liked, again, and just as you said, that support that it got at the 21-day moving average line. And really what was happening before is it just didn't feel like we were getting much of a shakeout. So on IBD Live, that was the thing we were talking about. It's just like with a lot of these stocks, felt like we needed a little bit more of a shakeout. And so you did get a little bit of that, but this market has been very resilient. It just refuses to stay down for very long. And while the NASDAQ was a little bit harder hit, you switch over to the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and those are still well near their highs. They basically came down to the 10-day moving average line, so hardly a blip on the radar. So it's not one of those things where you can look at, oh, we got a correction here. The markets are really refusing to correct at this point. Now, you did mention the Russell 2000 being down the most. So if you pull up IWM, which is the iShares Russell 2000 ETF, that is still struggling. It hasn't been able to make it above its 50-day moving average line. And here we are. Again, it got turned away a couple weeks ago, and it's still struggling here. So that's definitely the weakest of the indexes, the one that's lagging, and you can see that in the relative strength line. It's just looking pretty terrible there. And part of that is because the S&P 500 is right there at new highs, while this is still struggling to get back above that 50-day moving average line.
That it is. And now let's take a look at some stocks squarely on our radar. Apple. Towards the beginning of the session, it looked like it was trying to take out 150, quickly got some resistance there, had a reverse lower, but by the end of the day, was able to battle back up about 1.4% and some nice volume behind that move as well, Justin.
Yeah, sometimes it's better, and I do have a position in Apple myself, so sometimes it's better to not even look. It was my child's first day of school, my 16-year-old, so I was off doing that, and by the time I got back to my computer, that correction was over in Apple. So sometimes it's good to not look. But this is one that has it's a large cap. I mean, we're talking in the trillion, the $1 trillion club, but this was one of those pretty nice setups where this has been getting support at the 21-day moving average line. And Gavin McMaster last week did write an article about this because what he noted is that you have extremely low volatility in Apple as of last week. And so he was looking at a potential volatility trade using a calendar spread. So for anyone that is interested in options, it's worth taking a look at that article from last week. Actually, what he did was a double calendar spread. So if that's something that you're interested in learning about, we always suggest that you go to research and options for more information on some potential spread trades and all sorts of different option strategies. But you look at this, and as you said, it cleared that 150 level and looks like it could be ready to have another move.
So if you first bought Apple on the break of this downtrend, today maybe a chance to add. Would it also have been a chance to start a new position?
Yeah, I think you could make an argument for that. Again, as more of a swing trade, I would say. As a position trade, you really are cheating a little bit here, right? The early entry after that cup breakout is where you would want to be. Other than that, we're not really in position trades buying off the 21-day moving average line. We really want to see a pullback that's a little bit more serious to the 50-day. So I think of this as more of a swing trade right now. Now, this could be something that you start out as a swing trade, and once you get cushion and profit, maybe you turn it into a position trade and say, okay, you know what, now that it's worked for me, maybe I'll hold on to this a little bit longer, depending on if these big cap trillion-dollar club continue to really kind of
Mhm.
make the NASDAQ, index look stronger sometimes than it actually has been.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, and next, AutoNation. We previewed this in the early going on IBD Live, and it seemed like it was a bit along with Advanced Auto Parts,
Right.
LKQ, some of those other stocks in this theme. But AutoNation here with a nice upside reversal today, really strong, gaining almost 6%, Justin. And look at that volume spike as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to switch again. I'm going to make this show really about my daughter because she just got her license. So of course, we're looking at used cars. Thank goodness my sister has one lined up for us, because if you look at the used car market, man, the prices are just crazy right now. So AutoNation is one of those companies that has been definitely uh, you know participating in that, or benefiting from it. And this is another one where the pullback was nice and orderly. You can see that volume was never really too much on that. It got support at the 21-day moving average line. We did add this to swing trader as it was crossing Friday's high, and once it did that, it's like, okay, this is looking good. It's an outside day, support at the 21-day moving average line. And I think that early entry, we just saw it continue higher and higher throughout the rest of the day with volume increasing. So that was a nice start for us. And so now we're going to be looking at, as a swing trade, where do we start peeling off our first third of
Right.
profit, and how much room do we let this go? Because we don't think that these will last forever, but sometimes it's good to be playing them while they're advancing.
Yeah, and as you said, Justin, this is the exact kind of setup that we really like to see on Swing Trader.
Right.
So good problem to have, where to
Yeah.
take profits.
And I should mention that we also did put Apple on Swing Trader last week. So again, we have both of those.
Yes, great job there. And DAC Danaos in the transportation shipping group, and it reversed higher today, came down below its 50-day line and that 70 level, but reversing higher the other way, closing the day with a gain of 4% here, arguably actionable as well.
Yeah, I think so, because while this is still in its cup pattern, what I like is it's hard to call this a 2-day handle exactly, but if you go to the weekly chart, you do see it was a pink week, and it really resisted any downside pressure. It closed at the top of that range, but it was a down week. So you could argue that this is kind of handle-ish, and in that case, you could say, hey, look, I'll be entering this at the high of that handle, and I think that's actionable there. Or if you just looked at it as a bounce off the 50-day moving average line. Either way, I think you could make an argument. And remember, you don't have to start with your full position. You could start with a little bit, and then if it continues to work, maybe you fill it out as it crosses into new high territory, as a place to add to the position and make it a full position. So I think this is a place where you can start. And it certainly was, there were other shipping stocks that were looking strong in this group as well. So DAC was not alone.
Yeah, group 21 out of 197. And Zim has been another name in the group that we've been looking at, also retaking its 50-day line recently. But Zim has earnings in 2 days, and DAC already has earnings behind it. So that risk off the table there.
Right. I should also mention that AutoNation does have earnings coming up itself, so that's just something to be aware of. If I recall, I thought it was coming up. Oh, you know what? I was thinking
Looks
of
like it's out of
AAP.
the way.
Excuse me. Yeah, I was thinking of
Another
AAP, which
group
we were
name.
already talking about. Yeah, which we were talking about earlier. That one's
a
coming
little
up in
over a
8 days.
week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just
Good
something to
stuff.
be aware of. We're at the tail end of earnings, so it's not as big of an issue, but you still do want to be paying attention to that.
Right. Also, a reversal here today for AAP. All right, Justin,
Didn't
thank
have the
you so
volume though.
much. Yeah,
That's one of the reasons why we went with AutoNation today.
exactly. Yep, that was an interesting looking setup there. Thank you so much, Justin, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow on IBD Live, our daily morning live stream, where we're talking about actionable trade ideas, market conditions, and portfolio management strategies, all in real time. And it's interactive as well. So we look forward to seeing you there tomorrow, investors.com/IBD Live, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow afternoon.